associate with concretizing and making things solid is so transitory, so short-lived. Moving into our experience, whether it's the opening experience of love and compassion or the closing down experience of resentment and separation, brings us an enormous sense of freedom, the freedom of nothing solid. Something about nothing solid begins to equal freedom. In the meantime, we discover that we would rather feel fully present to our lives than be off trying to make everything solid and secure by engaging our fantasies or our addictive patterns. We realize that connecting with our experience by meeting it feels better than resisting it by moving away. Being on the spot, even if it hurts, is preferable to avoiding. As we practice moving into the present moment this way, we become familiar with groundlessness, a fresh state of being that is available to us on an ongoing basis. This moving away from comfort and security, this stepping out into what is unknown, uncharted, and shaky, that's called liberation. Ooh. Okay, we're going to hold poses today. Since we're going to be holding poses, if you want to have your weights or cans of soup or whatever you use, or no weights, you might want to have them on either end of the mat handy. But let's start standing. Mountain. In this case, this mountain is feet hip distance apart, but not the extra padding, hip joint distance apart. Legs straight down as best you can. Lift your toes up and spread them, and then lower them back down. Turn your palms to face forward, your thumbs out. And just feel the earth beneath your feet. Feel the mat. Feel your connection to the mat. Notice all points of your feet that make contact with the mat. Try to make them all contacting equally, except the arches of the feet. And inhale your arms out to the side, raise them overhead, and come up onto the balls of your feet. Hold it. If raising your arms straight up is hard on your shoulders, bend your elbows. Arms out to the side. That's also easier on the low back. Come to chair pose. We're not going to hold these beginning poses. We're just going to warm up a little bit. Shift your weight a little bit back towards your heels. A little bit less pressure on the balls of your feet. Keep your abs firm so you're not sticking out your tailbone. Come back up. Hold your left wrist and curve slowly to the right. Now you can keep your hips right over your heels, your legs straight up. Equal pressure on the bottoms of both feet, or you can curve your hips out to the left if you want. Try to reach your arms. Try to not let your head go down close to either arm, actually. Come back up. Hold the right wrist and curve to the left. Come back up. Lower your hands. Hands on your hips. Or once we start doing this, if you want, you can reach your hands out for balance, a little bit more of a warm-up. Touch your right toes forward. Reach your leg forward, touch your toes, and bring them back to center. Touch them out to the right. Bring them back to center. Touch them behind you without leaning forward. Bring them back to center. Left foot, touch, back, side, back, behind you, back, front, side, back, front, side, back, front, side, back, front, side, back. Bring your right knee up and just hold it. Find your balance. Find one place to focus on. Try to not lift your shoulders up. And lower that right knee down. Left leg up. Left leg down. Stand wide. Hands on your hips. Toes turned out a little bit. And lift your chest. Flatten your back. And move your elbows back to squeeze your shoulder blades just a little bit. Don't overdo it. Elbows back just enough. And come down to where you can keep your back flat. Don't round it. Don't lower your head. Your head, your neck is in the same line as the rest of your spine. Just hold it right there. Feel a stretch in the back of your legs, maybe your back. Now reach your arms slowly out without moving your torso and look at your arms. They should be only as high as your shoulders, more or less parallel to the floor. Don't lift them up into the air. And then drop your hands down, let your head hang, and just hold it. Hang in a wide forward bend. Now come up onto your fingertips. Flatten your back. You can have your hands on a block. If you're bending your knees, make sure your toes are turned out and you bend your knees out a little bit. Don't let them like angle in. Best option is toes pointing straight ahead and hand on a block. I mean, you're not that warmed up. So don't assume that you can stretch as far as you normally do. Your fingertips are either on a block, and this brings you up to a flatter back. And walk over to the right, turn your feet, come into a right side lunge. Knee over heel. Press your back heel toward the mat without turning your foot. If your legs are tired, you can gently lower that back knee down, keeping it back there. Hold it. Again, we're not holding these for the holds that we're going to be doing in a minute. Walk through center and lunge to the left. Press back a little bit to stretch the back leg. Make sure your knee is over your heel, but not past your heel, maybe a little behind. Hold it. You can always use blocks under your hands here as well. Now from here, step back to down dog. Spread your fingers, adjust your hands, adjust your feet. Pedal your feet slowly, one heel toward the mat, bending the other knee, alternating. And both heels toward the mat. Stretch back. Lower to your hands and knees. Adjust so your knees are under your hips. Your wrists are under your shoulders. Do some cat-cow, arching downward and inward. And rounding up like a Halloween cat. When you round up, tuck your chin. When you arch downward and inward, look a little bit forward, but don't lift your head a lot. Don't throw it in the back of the neck. Keep moving. Come back to a neutral spine. Step your right foot forward between your hands. Straighten out your right leg. Keep your toes down. And lean down, head to knee. You may have to step it a little bit further forward so you can keep your left thigh over your knee if you can. Maybe shift it back just a tiny bit. Now lift your right toes up hard. Keep your right leg straight. Feel it. That's a tough stretch. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower that foot down. Step the right foot back, hands and knees. Step the left foot forward. A little bit further forward than normal. And then stretch down. Keep your toes down. Hold the stretch. Now lift your toes up hard. Hold it. And lower them down. Step your left foot back, hands and knees. Separate your knees. Toes touch, big toes touch. Sit back on your heels and stretch your arms forward for extended child's pose and hold it. Come back up to hands and knees. Step the foot that's furthest away from the camera, the video, forward into a lunge. Lift the back knee up and turn toward the camera. Wide forward bend again. Hold it. And put your hands on your hips, still in forward bend. And flatten your back. Lift your shoulders and your chest forward. Flatten your back. And then come up. Still standing wide if you want to grab your weights. Arms up, parallel to the floor. Turn your right foot out. Bend your right knee. Try to keep your shoulders over your hips. Try not leaning, no leaning forward. You feel it in the back leg if you can keep your shoulders over your hips. Don't let your right knee tilt in. Hold the pose. Don't look at me. Look at you. If the weights become too much, lower your arms. Rest one on your front leg and one on your hip. Or you can put them down beside you forward. Come back to warrior two. Shoulders not lifted, sternum lifted. Arms reaching out as if you're trying to touch the walls on either side. Keep an eye on that right knee. Don't let it go past the heel. The shin should be perpendicular to the floor and not tilted inward toward the big toe side. Give it a little bit of a pressure with your leg muscles to push it toward the little toe side. The ball of the foot stays down. Push into the outer edge of the back foot to realign that back ankle so you're not sinking your arch of your foot down. Inhale, arms up, straighten your leg, turn your foot forward, left foot out 90 degrees, heel to arch alignment, and warrior two. And again, I lean in this one because of hips, so I have to readjust, not let that knee come in. Hold it. Pushing into the outer edge of the back foot. All those key points, look at yourself. It may feel like you're doing it correctly, but if you visually scan your body, you'll find that you may be a little bit out of alignment. Holding a pose does not mean not moving. It means making those little adjustments and then going back and doing an internal scan without looking and making those little adjustments. Feel when you see visually something you need to adjust, feel what it feels like when you do adjust it slowly so that you remember the feel of that. So you know or will know without looking how that should feel. Come slowly back up, arms overhead, foot forward. Carefully, if you have weights, swan dive to a forward bend and release your weights and just hang in a forward bend for a moment or less. Some of us were on the lake last night in the full moon, and it was so bright you could see shadows. It's always different out there in the dark of night or the dark of the light of the moon. Reverse swan dive. Come up. Turn your right foot out again. Keep your right leg straight. Shift your hips. Right hip goes down and in. Left hip goes out and up. Tilt the pelvis as you go down into triangle. And again, you may not be that warmed up, so you may not go down as far as you normally do. You can always use a block here. Rest your hand on a block. Don't push back with this lifted arm. It's straight up. If your shoulder is forward, then your arm is forward. And come back up a little bit and try to line up your shoulders with your front leg. Hold the pose. Front knee is straight but not locked. Better it be slightly bent than locked and hyperextended. Lengthen your spine just as if you were standing in mountain. Use your inhale and separate your rib cage. Lengthen. Even in this pose, lengthen. Push into the outer edge of the back foot. Think about that. Think about the back leg. We're always so focused on the front. Pay attention to what's happening to the back. Now imagine somebody has a hold of your left arm. Tighten that left arm and pull yourself up as if somebody else is pulling you up. Foot forward, arms up. Left foot out. Tilt your pelvis. And go down into a triangle on the left. Do all those visual, mental checks. Don't let your right shoulder come forward. Don't turn. Try to go straight sideways. It's an angle. Arms are straight. Don't push back, moving your arm behind your shoulder, trying to bring that top shoulder back. That's a rotation from the whole body, not just pulling on the shoulder. Feel it. Feel the stretch. Feel if this side feels different from the other side. If it feels easier. If it's harder. Again, pull yourself up. Feet forward, arms up. Swan dive with control. Tighten your abs. Flat back until you can't keep it flat. You have to round down and just hang in a wide forward bend again. Arms out to the side, reverse swan dive, come up. Arms overhead, turn your right foot out. Keep your left arm alongside, not touching, but alongside your left ear. Bend the right knee and lean over for an extended side angle. Readjust, don't turn your body, stay sideways. Reach a nice straight arm, left arm. You can reach it up. If reaching past the top of your head doesn't feel right for your arm and your shoulder, hold it. Push into the outer edge of the back foot. We really focus on the front leg with this one. Pay attention to the back. Take some of the weight off the front by pushing into the back leg. Watch that bent knee always, especially now your torso is adding extra weight to that bent knee. Make sure it's over the heel. Reach your left arm up, tighten the muscle, pull yourself up, and then straighten your right knee. Turn it forward, arms up, right arm alongside your head as you turn your left foot out, bend your left knee, and lean over to the left side. Don't let your right shoulder come forward if you can help it. Push into the back leg. If the arm doesn't like being alongside your head and reaching, reach it up to the ceiling or make another adjustment. Don't hurt your shoulder. Always move into poses slowly so you can feel when you need to stop or when you need to adjust. Feel as much of your body as you can as you go into a pose, not just the obvious, not just the front bent leg. Check that. Of course, the knee over the heel, all that. But feel everything as you go into the pose. You'll get messages. Reach your right arm back up to the ceiling, pull yourself up, and then straighten your left leg, turn both feet forward, swan dive with control to a forward bend and hang there. Come up onto your fingertips a little bit. Lunge right. Your left hand down, bring it over kind of close to your foot. Don't have it way forward. Bring it so it's straight down from your shoulder if you can. And you may have to adjust as you lift the right arm up. Your body may shift, and you may have to move that left hand a different place to be aligned up with your shoulder. Lengthen your spine once you get here. Don't push back with the right arm against that shoulder. Reach straight up. Hold it. Let your left hip sink down a little bit to get the rotation. You can even lower that left knee if this is too challenging for your legs this morning. After doing some of those other ones, it might be. If you do lower your left knee down, don't put your knee under your hip. Keep it back so you have a deep stretch. Now come back to the lunge. Lower your arm, lift the back knee if you need to. Walk through center, turning your feet forward. Turn your left foot out, lift your right heel up, and go to a lunge on the left side. Put your right hand down below your shoulder. Lift your left arm up slowly, mindfully. Let your right hip drop down a little bit. If the knee wants to go down, that's okay. If the arm doesn't want to reach straight up, then don't. Lay it along your side or something, or put it around behind your back. You know all these things. Lengthen your spine. Once you get there, we tend to round in twisting poses. Lengthen. Lower your hand back to lunge. Step back to downward dog. Adjust your hands. Come to your knees and fold up part of the mat if you need extra padding. Lengthen your spine. Push into your hands. Let your heels sink toward the mat. Remember, if you need to, it's okay to bend your knees because that will feel better on the back. Pay attention to what you feel. Hold the pose. And in downward dog, if you want, instead of just holding it static, you can gently and slowly push one heel toward the mat. And then bring it up as you bend the knee and press the other heel toward the mat. Press both heels toward the mat. Come up onto the balls of your feet. And gently lower your heels back down. Always gently, always slowly. You don't want any Achilles tendon pulling things happening. Once again, I have to tout, is that the right word? The benefits of the kinesiology tape, because I wore it last night paddling. And it doesn't feel like I did a couple hours of paddling, that's for sure, today or last night. Lower down to your hands and knees and rest in child's pose. Come up to hands and knees. Bring your right knee forward and to the outside of your right hand. If you can't even reach it all the way up to your hand, you can still take it to the outside of the wrist. It's angling out. Slowly, if you want, if it's okay with your knee and your hip, you can slowly work your right foot up towards your left wrist. And then slide your left leg back. Let your hips sink down. You can stay up here on your hands, if that feels better, as long as you don't let your shoulders come up to your neck. Or you can come down onto your forearms, or you can rest your head all the way down on the mat. Pigeon, hold the pose. So I looked at a place in Pea Ridge that is small, that I could do a class, social distancing, of about 5 or 6 people. So I may be doing that with the Kundalini Yoga people, and they will have to pre-sign up, and if they're not going to make it, they'll have to let me know so I can invite somebody else. But I'm also hopefully looking at some larger places Friday for perhaps an inside gong event, so that we can, I know, I miss the gong as much as some of you do. And we can have a gong and crystal bowl, 2 gongs probably, crystal bowl event where we'll do a little meditation and then we'll relax to the sound of the gong. And there's also an outdoor spot that's out by Prairie Creek that we might be able to use. Okay, shift your right foot back, hands and knees, come back up. And then left knee, and remember where it goes to the outside. You slowly work the left foot up towards your right wrist. Stretch your right leg back and hold the pigeon, whatever version you want. But there's an outdoor location, and now that it's cooler in the evenings, I think we can do outside as long as the grass isn't wet. We're going to test, somebody is going to test gong outside and see what it sounds like. It won't be as contained, so it may not be the same kind of vibration, but it may be really awesome. So we're checking out a number of places for maybe a gong event sometime in August. And we'll see. But again, whatever place we get has to have room for everybody to be apart. You will be required to have a mask when you walk in, or even to the yard. You'll have to have a mask until you get to your mat or get your mat set up. Okay, come back to hands and knees. Lie on your back. Take your strap. Put the strap around the ball of your right foot. Have your knees bent. It's usually good to start with knees bent. Strap around the ball of the right foot so you stretch your calf a little better. And hold it straight up. And then if it's okay with your back, you can straighten your left leg out. But if your back feels put upon, because this right hamstring is tied up to your back, I mean, it can affect your back. And the left, if you straighten it out, you feel it more. Keep your left knee bent if you need to for backs. Hold the stretch. You are still holding the stretch. Close your eyes. Feel the stretch. Shoulders relaxed. Arm muscles working. Pull your leg a bit. Try to keep it straight-ish without locking the knee. Try to keep it relaxed and straight-ish. Strap still around your foot. But release the pull a little bit as you take the leg out to the right. And it doesn't have to go to the floor. It has to go to wherever you can stretch it and want to stretch it, keeping the left buttock, left leg down on the mat. If your knee is still bent, it can stay bent if you want, but you don't push up You don't lift your left buttock. Your left buttock stays down. No lifting. You can straighten the left leg out if you want, if it feels okay with your back. Your strap. You pull the leg a little bit tighter into the stretch once you get there so you know how it feels. You don't keep it pulled as tight as you move it there. You release it, then put it there, and then tighten it up. Keep that left buttock down to get the most out of the stretch. I don't think I can say derriere. If I say derriere, that's both. Left derriere and right derriere, I don't know if that works. Leg up. Take it across the body. Shift your hips. Bend your left knee a little bit. Shift your hips. Lift them up. Move them to the right. Straighten your left leg out and take your foot across the body. Hold it in your left hand. You could shift a little bit more. Your legs are straight up and down. Remember, you don't push your shoulder toward the floor with your arm. You rotate the whole torso if you want. Or you can lay your arm on a block or a blanket behind you. If it doesn't reach the floor comfortably, you don't want it hanging out there in air because that's going to be pulling on your arm. The weight of the arm is going to be pulling on your shoulder. So rest it on something, even if it's just resting your wrist on your waist and letting your elbow kind of go toward the floor. You know all this. If you're resting your arm on something, it's not just the upper arm with your elbow hanging off. So hyperextending your arm and your elbow. Support the elbow as well. Right? Better to even support the low arm if you can. Slowly bring your leg back up. Lower down. That's why it's better to use a blanket so you can support the whole arm if you're supporting it. Change legs. Left leg straight up, right knee bent. Right leg can slowly straighten out onto the mat if you want. Strap around the ball of the left foot. Maximize the stretch, no sharp stabbing pains. Discomfort, perhaps. Notice and learn the difference. A strong stretch or a damaging stretch. Never go that far. And always stretch slowly. Don't pull yourself up into a hard stretch. It's going to hurt something. You do that. Notice what the right leg feels. Whether the knee bent or straight. Notice the shoulders. Keep them relaxed. Now release the pull a little bit. Don't pull it as tightly as you take it slowly out to the left toward the floor. Don't have to touch the floor. Keep your right buttock down. Try to keep your left hip even with the right hip. Across your belly. You can look at your belly. If the left hip is starting to lift up, or the right hip, starting to lift up, you're going a little bit too far with that left leg. It's pulling your hip up because it's too tight. Just take it to where it needs to stretch. And hold it there. If you stretch to where the right hip lifts, then you've gone beyond where it can actually stretch. And it's adjusting. Slowly bring your leg back up. Take it across the body, shifting your hips to the left. Keep the SI joint areas straight. Shift it more if you need to. Change hands. Reach your left arm out to the left if you can, rotating the whole torso to do it. Let it rest on a block or on your side. Just let it rest with your hand on your waist. Let your elbow drop down, or you can take your arm out, put it on something, floor or a blanket, supporting the whole arm if you can. Upper arm, elbow, lower arm. Eleven by my clock. Not by this one, but by the other one. Slowly bring your leg back up. Lower down, bend both knees, feet on the mat. Still lying on your back. And separate your knees, heels in close. Reclined, bound to angle. Don't try to force your knees to the mat. Just relax. Just let gravity stretch you. Anyway, if those of you, if you're interested in maybe doing a gong, attending a gong event and crystal bowls, message me or text me and let me know so we know if there's enough people interested to actually go through the process of setting one up. And if you have friends who may want to come. Knees slowly back up, feet on the mat, roll over onto your side, push yourself up to seated, cross-legged or whatever's comfortable. Let's do a little bit of breath. Hands in Namaste. Inhale as you lower your arms, take them out to the side and raise them overhead. Slowly exhale as you put your palms together, bring them back to heart center. Control your breath. Long, slow inhale, arms down and up. Still inhaling, and then palms together, slowly exhaling your hands back to heart center. As you inhale, imagine that you're gathering in healing, sparkling light from the universe. And as you exhale, imagine that healing is going from your heart center through your whole body. Inhale, arms out to the side and up. If you want, picture clearly someone in your mind that you want to exhale that healing to. A few more times. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale. Let your belly expand with the inhale. Exhale to Namaste. Thank you all for coming. Satnam and Namaste. Now it is, well, almost is core. We're going to start standing. Stand wide. Toes turned out. Make sure you do this slowly. Don't swing your arms. Don't reach quickly. It's a stretch, so you don't want to pull something. But you're also going to keep your abs tight and firm and pull yourself back up straight all the way up to standing. And then you're going to go to the other side. Arms out to the side. Reach your right hand, your left shin, ankle, whatever you can do without bending your left knee. Tighten your abs. Come all the way back up. Reach your left arm to the right. Again, whatever you can do without bending the knees, and come all the way back up using your abs to lift yourself. Back is going to get some work, but we don't want to strain it. So learn to use your abs. Keep alternating side to side. And you keep going, and I will time it. If you want to work with the breath, it's an exhale. When you reach down and twist, and it's an inhale as you tighten your abs and lift yourself back up. Slowly, knees straight. Don't go reaching to the floor because you think that's cool. Nobody's here. Nobody can see you. Reach as far as is right for you without bending your knees. It's supposed to be a stretch as well. And as it loosens up, as you loosen up, you might be able to reach a tiny bit further. So go slowly so you know how far you should be going. Next time you reach your left hand to the right, come slowly back up, lower your arms. Feet hip distance, toes pointing straight ahead. Hands on your shoulders, elbows out. And remember, always rest when you need to. As you gradually build strength, you'll be able to do it longer. Try not to round, to just definitely touch your knees. You don't have to touch your knees. Try to stay straight. Bring your left knee up towards your right elbow, and your right to the left. And again, stay straight if you can. Twisting. Alternating sides. And keep going. Don't stop unless you need to rest. And remember, it's a rest. It's not a stop. So just pause for a breath or two when you need to, and then continue. After you've done left elbow to right knee, come back to center. Feet still, a couple inches apart, toes pointing straight ahead. You're going to swing your hips and reach one arm overhead and one arm behind. So the right arm goes overhead, swing your hips to the right, left hand behind you. Don't take it so far. And then other side. Try not to rotate. When you reach the one hand behind, the shoulder wants to go as well. Try to stay sideways as best you can. It just goes behind a little bit. Let your hips swing. Strengthening one side while you stretch the other. Keep going. Don't look at me and see if I'm still doing it. This is your class. And I'm not sure, but I think I'll have to try it. I haven't tried it. I think you can cast from your phone to your TV. If you have, I don't know what, Bluetooth? No, we don't. I don't know. I'll have to ask David. So if you want to see it on a bigger screen, you can have it on your phone, but you can cast it to TV. Again, after you've done the left arm overhead, right hand behind, come back to center. And come to lying on the mat. If you have your weights nearby, you can hold your weights. You don't need weights. Cross your arms on your chest. Tuck your chin. Knees are bent, feet are on the mat. Tuck your chin and start chin tuck. Start lifting your shoulders. Just enough to round up. And then slowly go back and untuck your chin. First, tuck your chin. So you don't actually lift with the neck. You tuck your chin, then lift your shoulders, and then slowly back down. Pull the abs in above the navel and below the ribs as you slowly lift, slowly lower, and keep moving, resting as needed. Upper abs. Some of you, if you came to ball on Saturday, some of you might have kind of sore abs. I heard about it. And it might be the upper abs, since the ball really makes working the upper abs. It's one of the best. That's when we start that first face up laying on the ball with the upper abs. That really is a good one. And we haven't been doing it for 4 months, 4.5 months. Jeez. Hard to believe. And the gentle class, if you want to stay for that, is going to be the knee hug. Rotating the legs, taking them across, doing that gentle routine that we used to always do after Pilates. We're going to do that first in the gentle class. Okay, release. Legs up in the air. This one is for the low abs. So below the navel and below. Keep them firm, keep them pulled in. Try to lift your feet to the ceiling, even if just this much. It doesn't have to be a big lift. Just, if you can't lift, just try. Isometrically trying to lift your legs to the ceiling. It's going to work those muscles. You really don't want it high. You don't want it up like a shoulder stand. You just want to get your low back and your glutes, your derriere, off the mat. You should bring your legs forward and up, not too far forward. Still up in the air. Keep moving. Keep going. This is like reverse crunches. What it used to be called. Last one. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Pull them in and gentle rock side to side. Not big, just gentle. Massaging and stretching your back. You do not want the back to tighten. We want it to tone, just like the abs. Tight, toned, but not tight. Now this one you can do it in a couple of different ways. It's our regular elbow to opposite knee. And you can do it with your legs, starting with your legs straight and staying lifted the whole time, and then keeping your legs lifted so they don't touch the mat. You can do it from foot down, putting your foot down with your knees bent if it hurts your back. Do the version that works for you. You don't have to straighten your leg out all the way. You can just straighten it a little bit. Work the waist muscles and keep going. You could start out one way, and if your back starts to get tired, bend your knees, do it the other way. Rest when you need to. Should be challenging. That's the point. If it's too easy, make it harder. If it's too hard, do it that way a few times before you make it easier. And then try one more time the hard way. Not hard on your back, just challenging for the abs. You don't want it to be hard on the back. Next time you reach your right elbow to your left knee, stop. Hug both knees in. Rock side to side. Massage your back. Stretch it. And come over onto your side. With your legs straight. For the muscles that support the SI joints. Stack your hips. Legs are straight. You can rest down on your arm if you want. Top hand is in front of you. Do not roll back a little bit and then come back to straight. Feel what that feels like. Rolling top hip back a little bit. Come back to straight. Don't let that happen when you lift your legs. Feel what it feels like now. Feel what muscle you're resting on now. You can put a blanket underneath your hip if it's too hard on the hip. And keep that. Feel that you just lift the legs just a little bit. Just enough to activate these muscles in the back and lower back down. Lift and lower without letting your body roll. And keep moving slowly. Legs together. That puts a little extra weight on the bottom leg. So it has to work a little bit harder. Working your muscles a little bit more. Excuse me. Did all the world clocks slow down or something? Because this seems to have, we should be further along in this class. Maybe because it's hard, it seems to go slower. Could be, huh? Lower your legs down. Bend your bottom knee just a little bit so you're balanced. So when you bring this top leg straight forward as best you can, you don't fall. If you can't bring the leg 90 degrees out, bend your knee and at least bring the thigh 90 degrees out. You do not want to do this with your leg down here somewhere. It has to be up here, at least your knee and your thigh have to be up there, right? So bent or straight, but up here. And slowly lift up, only to where you can without rolling back, just to lift it up real high. Lower back down, slowly lift up, about a 45-degree angle, and back down. And again, with your knee bent, if your hamstrings are tight, that's why you can't get your leg out to the side. So do it with your knee bent. That's okay. Keep going. Slowly. Used to teach, every once in a while, I used to teach a gentle class with like ace bandages or some kind of a cover so you couldn't open, you couldn't see. Some people didn't like the ace bandages, but they promised to keep their eyes closed. And then just follow verbal instructions so that you were focused more inside, more on what you were doing and feeling. And you'd have to listen and process the instruction for a moment and then do the instruction, do the movement or the pose, feeling it more and looking around or visual, because visual interferes with stuff. Okay, the leg is still forward, whether straight or bent. Lift it a tiny bit, just a couple inches off the floor. Lift, lower, 2, down, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Rest for a moment. We're going to do that 2 more times. Leg straight or knee bent, thigh straight out to the side at least. Lift, 10, 9, little lift, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Rest for a second. Again, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. And we'll stretch that quadricep in the next class. So we're on to the other side. Legs straight. Hips stacked. Rest all the way down on your arm or prop your head in your hand or do what works for you. Don't let the top hip roll back. Keep it above the other hip. It may feel like your top hip's rolled forward. Feel what that feels like on the bottom leg. Feel what that is like. Roll back a little bit and then come back. You do not want to feel this roll back. Lift your legs, right? So keep them straight. Keep your hips stacked. Lift your legs and lower them down just a little bit. Your thigh does not come, bottom thigh does not come off. Your knee comes off. Keep your legs together. Lift and lower. Keep going. Oh, about the eyes. When our eyes are open, our vision, our 5 senses are, in parts of the brain. The vision takes up 60% of that brain processing power of the senses. 60% is the eyes and interpreting what we see. So when you close your eyes, it allows some of the other senses to access that brain power. So, you smell, if you close your eyes and you smell a rose, you can smell, we do it almost naturally. When we smell a beautiful scent, we close our eyes. That's why people who are blind can hear better, because that's using up more of the brain processing center. Okay, bend your bottom leg. Bring your leg forward. Remember all the instructions about this. And slowly lift up without rolling back, about 45-degree angle from the floor. And slowly back down. Lift. Don't roll back. That's giving into weakness. That's just not using muscles. These are muscles that we don't normally use. So your other muscles try to help. Don't let them. Strengthen these muscles. Keep going. And lower down. And again, 3 times. We're going to do 10 little fast ones. So tiny lift, 1 or 2 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lower down. Rest for a moment. Bottom leg is still bent a little bit for balance. And again, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Rest it. Last time. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come over onto your belly. Yes, lay on your stomach. You don't have to see me do it. You know how to lay on your stomach. Arms are out. Hands are stacked. And your forehead is resting on your stacked hands. Face down on the mat. Keep your forehead stuck to your hands so you don't lead with the back of the neck. Lift your arms. Lift your chest. Lift nice straight legs. Slowly curving up. And slowly lowering back down. Don't lift with your elbows pulling yourself up. Don't lift with your head pulling yourself up. Lift with your back lifting you up. Lift and lower. Keep your legs straight. Don't lift up too high. Even if you can, don't. Keep it low to work the whole back. The higher you start lifting, the more it isolates just the low back, which is why the low back gets tired with these things. So keep it low. Feel the whole back working. Intentionally work the whole back. And lower down. Now we're going to stay on your belly, or if you have to get up to get your strap. Lie back down on your belly. Your hands are behind your back. Your thumbs are pointing toward each other. You're not all kind of twisted around. Thumbs are pointing toward each other. Palms are facing away. Back of the hands are on your butt. Now touch the tips of your thumbs together. That's how close you want your hands to be. You're holding the strap, your palms. You're going to just lift your arms just this much. Just watch me. You're going to lift your arms just this much, not way up. Just off your buttocks, just slightly off your buttocks. And then reach your hands down toward your heels as you lift your arms or your chest and your leg. Don't look forward. Keep looking toward the mat, but don't let your head hang down. And lower back down. Lift just a little bit so you can reach your hands down toward your heels, keeping your legs straight toward, in the direction of your heels, not trying to touch your heels. And lower back down. Reaching and pressing your arms down toward your heels works your upper back better. Stay low. Don't get any higher than in the last one. Your arms just a tiny bit lifted, and then reaching down as you lift your shoulders and lift your legs. Don't overdo it. Just enough to cause the different muscles to be working. The breath, it's an inhale as you lift. Your belly will help lift you. And an exhale as you lower. Your legs do not lift high. Your chest does not lift high. Your arms do not lift high. Lower down. Turn your head to the right. Keep holding the strap. We're going to do that again. So your left cheek is on the mat. Your head is turned to the right. You're resting all the way down. Turn your head back to center, forehead on the mat. Slowly lift. Reaching your hands toward your buttocks. Slowly lower. Slowly lift. Slowly lower. Gently reaching toward the bottom of your buttocks. With your hands, hold the strap. Don't pull on the strap too hard. Just hold it. Pulling on the strap is the shoulder thing. You don't want to do that particular movement. It can also be an elbow thing, which wouldn't be good. Lower down, turn your head to the left. Right cheek is on the mat. And you can release your tie and let your arms rest by your side. And come up to hands and knees. Knees under hips, hip width. Wrists under shoulders, fingers spread wide. Do some cat-cow, arching inward and downward, looking a little bit forward, but not head up, looking forward. And then round your chin, round your back up. Use your abs to do this. Arch inward and downward, as slowly as I am. Round, slowly up. Bring your abs in. Keep moving. Try to not bring your shoulders up towards your neck when you round your back up. I just noticed myself doing that. So pay attention to that. Then we'll move a little bit, but don't intentionally bring them up. Working out any tightness from all that we have done. Come back to a neutral spine and just circle your hips. Try to do without rocking forward and back. Just circle. Use your abs. It may not even look like I'm moving. I noticed that when I looked at the video. I'm going to do it this way. Circle. Tuck. You circle forward and you arch a little bit when you circle back. Circle the other way, please. And come back to center. We are done. If you're staying for gentle, lie on your back. Hug your knees in a little bit. Rock side to side. Hello, gentle people. We're going to do our most favorite of all, warm up and stretch. At least in my opinion. So let's start, everybody, with your legs straight. Arms by your side, palms up, little fingers towards your body, thumbs away from your body, and not tight against your body. Arms just by your side, out a little bit.
Move your shoulder blades down your back a little bit. Walk them down. Flex your foot so that your heel is on the mat, and then relax your foot and allow your heel to pull your leg down a little bit. Just relax right there. Close your eyes. Focus on your breath. Let your belly expand as you inhale. Use your diaphragm muscle. The diaphragm contracts, pulling air into the bottom of the lungs, and as it contracts, it goes down, pushes out all of the internal organs in the belly. In a way, your diaphragm may be expanding a little bit as it's contracting, just like when you contract your arm using your bicep, it expands a little bit, but it's really contracting. It's expanding this way. And with your next inhale, raise your arms to the floor overhead. If you can't touch the floor with straight arms, bend your elbows so you can touch the floor overhead or the elbows out to the side a little bit more, whatever feels right for your shoulder and your muscles in your chest and along your ribs. And breathe. This pulls the intercostal, some of the rib muscles tighter, some of the back muscles tighter. So you really do need to use the diaphragm to breathe. Your belly really does need to expand. Let it be a deeper breath than you normally do. Let the breath expand you, opening you. Deeper than a natural breath. And slow. Control the exhale. Make it slow. Now, take a deep inhale with your arms overhead. And as you exhale, bring your right knee up, bring your arms up, exhaling, 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 exhaling. Hug that knee in, finish your exhale. Inhale as the leg goes back to the mat, the arms go overhead, move at the speed of your breath, make your breath slow. Exhale as the left knee comes up and the arms come up. Hug it, finish the exhale, and inhale your way back down, arms overhead. Control your breath, squeeze the back of your throat, keep moving. I can't really call this one out for you because your breath is going to be at a different speed than mine. Try to make it deep, try to make it slow. Exhaling as the knee comes up and the arms come up. And inhaling as the leg goes down, the arms go back overhead, alternating sides. Move with your breath. This is a great way to learn how to move with your breath. Pay attention to your breath and your movement. Coordinate the two. This is an easy exercise to practice moving with your breath. So practice it. Use it. Breath work is advanced. Moving with the breath is advanced. That's the next step in yoga practice, is learning how to use the breath and move with the breath. So it's not an easy thing. It's practice just like any other part of yoga or life. You need to practice it. The next time, without changing your rotation, keep going, don't stop. But the next time you're holding your right knee, then keep holding it. Breathe naturally, relax your shoulders. Keep that right knee pulled in, left leg straight on the mat. Hold it, great stretch. This whole little routine is a great first thing in the morning or last thing at night. It's great first thing in the morning to loosen up tight joints and muscles. great for last thing at night because it calms the central nervous system and helps you relax. These are all held for 1 minute, as you all know. And it's just holding a stretch. You can do this for 1 minute. If you're pulling too tightly, just release the pull a tiny bit. Holding these should be easy to do, even with tight muscles. Just adjust for your body, but stay in the position. Still holding the right knee in. Cup your hand over the top of the knee and rotate the leg without lifting the left buttock up when you take it out to the right. Rotate it and bend your elbow and pull it in. When you take it across the other leg, don't take it so far that the right buttock lifts. So just take it across a little bit, but not real far. This is just to loosen up the hips. If you go to the point where you're lifting up the buttocks on either side, depending on the direction you're going, you've gone beyond where you're really loosening up the hips anymore. The body's adjusting because you can't go that far. So it's just lubricating the hip joint, sending some blood into the muscles and tendons around the hip joint, loosening it up, thanking it for all the work it does for us all day. The more movement, range of motion you maintain in your hips, the safer your knees will be. Not always the case, but it seems from people I've talked to in my own experience, 80% of the case is if there's knee issues, it started at the hip. And again, not always. It can be injury. Now rotate, going around the other direction first, and bring it out and around and in. Again, pay attention to your buttocks, not lifting. Don't take it that far. Move slowly so you can feel it. 1 minute is about 10, 11 rotations if you're doing it at the correct speed. Not a lot. Today I'm going to hopefully set up the area, clear it out, and plant my kiwi vines. One of them is just the pollinator and one of them is the fruitinator. And my 3 new thornless blackberries in a new spot. I've moved the other ones numerous times. I think I need to try some new ones. Now come back to center, your knee is in. Bend your left leg so you can shift your hips to the right. See how that angles my knee already to the left, and straighten out your left leg. Take your right knee over to the left. Shift a little bit more if you need to. Make sure the right foot is resting. It's better if it rests on the left leg. So bend the left leg a little bit to give it something to rest on. Again, don't push your shoulder down with your arm. If you want to go further to the right, rotate your ribs to the right. Keep pressure on your right leg. But it's mostly for the hips, so it doesn't matter if your shoulder goes down. Hold it. Now bring your knee back up, put your right foot on the mat, shift your back so you're nice and flat again. Your right knee is still bent, your right foot is on the mat. Let your right knee go out to the right, have your right heel in close to your thigh or your groins as much as you can. Your right toes might touch the left inner thigh or left inner knee. Hold it. Go force that right leg down to the mat. Just relax. Notice what you feel in the left leg. Notice what you feel in your back. Notice how your shoulders feel. Bring your right knee back up, foot on the mat. Right knee back up, foot on the mat. Slide your right leg beside your left leg. Lift your left knee up and hug it. Relax your shoulders. Use your arm muscles. Pull it in. Hold the stretch. Now bring your left leg back to center. What did we just do? Oh yeah, right. Cup your left hand over the top and rotate. Keep your left foot down. Keep your leg as relaxed as you can. Keep a hold of the knee. Don't let it go away. The leg going out straight we do all the time. We want to keep a hold of that knee and rotate it. Again, those buttocks stay down. Don't rotate it that far. Go to your edge so you know where your edge is. Move slowly. Notice the direction you're moving when you let it out and bring it in across. It can go in the other direction in a minute. To the other direction, please. Rotating the hip. Usually we pick our most comfortable direction first. It's just the body-mind connection that just is what happens. It may not be the same for all of us. So you need to go the less comfortable direction. Bring it back to center. Take your left knee over to the right side of the body. Let your left foot rest on your right leg, bending your right leg if you need to, shifting your hips. Use your right hand to press your left knee toward the floor. You can reach your left arm back out. Let it rest on your side. Turn your chest a little bit toward the ceiling. Let the left arm rest on a block. If you want to take it out to the side, it doesn't touch the floor easily. Don't pull on your shoulder to try to get it down. With your arm, rotate the whole rib cage to the left. Bring your leg back up, shift your back to flat. Left foot on the mat, knee is bent. Slowly let your left knee go out to the left, half reclined, bound angle. Don't try to force it down. That's just going to lift your hip up. Just relax it. Shift and let your left toes touch your right inner thigh or knee inside your knee. And again, just relax it. Just let gravity stretch you. Hold it. We had some Thai food the other day. We did a pickup at Hatha, the one that's out toward Lowe's and Scottsdale Plaza area, the one on the south side of Walnut. They're good. They have gluten-free noodles too. So I had something, pad thai, I think. It's good. I had medium. It was just perfect as far as hot goes. We needed something different. I've been wanting to go there for a while. Now, keep your left knee where it is. Bend your right knee. Bottoms of your feet together. Knees apart from each other. Reclined, bound angle. Don't force it. Just relax it. Hold the pose. If it hurts your back, put your feet on a block when you're not. And do bound angle from there. Heels still in close. Don't let your legs be out here. That's not good for the knees. Try to have your heels in close. Or you can put your feet on a blanket or a pillow if you don't want to go as high as the block. That does feel better on the back. Knees up. Now roll over onto your side facing the video. Shift around a little bit. Straighten your legs out a little bit, not totally straight, but knees are still slightly bent. And grab your top heel, pull it into your glute, and push your knee away. So you're trying to make a straight line with your thigh, your torso. But if your hamstring or quadricep is too tight, you might not be able to take your knee back that far. Don't lift it up. Don't lift your foot up. The heel stays right at the buttocks level. Your calf is lined up with your thigh. It's not above your thigh or below. You'll rotate. That challenges your knee. Even if you are flexible enough in the hip to do that, don't do it. Keep it nice and level and straight, just slightly off the other leg. So it's kind of parallel to the floor, right? Stretching the quads. And if compressing the knee is not comfortable, don't pull it as tightly, or you can use a strap around your foot. If you can't hold the foot and not pull it as tightly, use a strap around your foot. That way you don't have to pull it as tightly to get hold of it. But you don't want to just lift it up and not hold it, because that's not stretching, that's strengthening. And right now we want to stretch. Hold it, we're going to hold it for longer than the other ones. Make sure your right shoulder is relaxed. And it being August, I know that you all are probably here before I would, because I don't get the newsletter from the Wellness Center. Excuse me. But I haven't heard anything about planning any openings in August so far. And there may be some changes to the schedule. We'll have to see as far as they go. Okay, release that leg. Sit up so you can lay on the other side, still facing the video. Stretch top quadricep. Heel in toward the glutes. Don't lift the knee up. Keep everything parallel. Your shin in line with your thigh. Your heel in line with your buttock. Feel the stretch in the quadricep and maybe the hip flexors. No tight, no sharp pull, sharp muscle straining, sharp pains, but a strong stretch. We need to keep the hip flexors, quadriceps stretched so that we can take nice full steps and we don't mince our steps. And although some people take that kind of walk because they're afraid of losing their balance, or their muscles aren't very strong, but oftentimes it's because the hips have tightened up because moving them was uncomfortable. And release the stretch. You come up to seated, right leg crossed in front or on top, however you cross. Inhale, lengthen your spine, lift your chest. Keep your chest lifted, spine straight, and reach out as you stretch forward, and then let yourself round down. Hold the stretch. You can rest your head on the block if that's more comfortable for you. Hold it. Feel the stretch. Now allow your inhale to lift you back up. Put your right hand behind you, close to you, left hand on the outside of the right thigh. Lift up, lengthen your spine, pull yourself around into a twist. Try not to lean. If your torso is longer than your arms, you can use a block. You put your hand on a block. Again, close to you. You don't want to lean back. You want to be straight. You put your hand, I'm bending my elbow because I don't need the block, but if you can do it with your straight arm, but then don't lift your shoulder up. If you don't need the block, if you can put your fingertips on the mat, do that. Try to relax your shoulders, lengthen your spine, look over the back shoulder if it's okay with your neck and your shoulder. Come slowly back to center. Change legs, left leg in front or on top, however you cross. Inhale, lengthen your spine without lifting your shoulders. Exhale, reach forward and down, then round down. Support your head yourself on your arms. You can even put your chin in your hands if you want. Let your head hang and get a stretch on the back of the neck. Hold the stretch. Feel the stretch. Notice where you feel the stretch. One side can be very different from the other. Usually is. Not in all poses, but in some. You'll notice a difference side to side. I may freeze for a moment here. Oh, no, I don't have to freeze. Slowly back up. Twist to the left, rotating on the spine. Pelvis stays in the same location. Twisting the spine. Lengthen, lift up, lift your chest. Don't let yourself sink down. It tends to happen. Hold the twist. Look over the back shoulder if it's okay with your neck. Keep noticing as you get tired holding this. You may start to slump a little bit. Try to stay tall. Both buttocks is equally down on the mat, though. As you lift up, you may be lifting the right buttock. You don't want to do that. Stable foundation, twisting. Slowly inhale your way back to center, palms together. Thank you so much for coming. Have a wonderful couple days. I will see you Thursday. Sat Nam and Namaste.